Yo, welcome back in to another Friday 5-minute magic tip. It's Dr. Shane back to give you some more tips on your DPC world. Hope you guys are having a great week. Looking forward to a great weekend. Got a tip today on third party administrators. So TPAs, want to chat with you a little bit about that. Talked about that some in my book. Um, Gave you some little tips in there. You might want to pick that up and read some more about it. But third party administrators, how they affect DPC, how they affect small employers. So let's get into it just a little bit. So third-party administrators, I'll call them TPAs. They basically are a company that basically handles your insurance claims. So you have an employer, and they have a health plan, and they go to see a doctor, they go to see an imaging center, anything that produces a claim um, for medical care would go to that TPA. They would look at the claim. They make sure all the dots are crossed, dotted T's, crossed T's, everything's like they're supposed to be. So they adjudicate the claim, make sure everything's supposed to be there right, and they process the claim and get that money paid to the right person. So they're basically handling the claims process, so the employer doesn't have to worry about that. So that's kind of how the process goes with a third party administrator, and they get paid either per claim or per member per month. Just depends on how they set up their payment system. So TPAs are super critical, very important for self-funded employers who have their own health plan. You have to have a really good TPA to process those claims, get you the information on those claims, and work with your advisor to be sure you're getting claims paid and that you're not losing money, that claims seem to be right and the amount seem to be right. So it's a critical three-way triangle between the TPA, the employer, and the advisor, the benefits person, who's really setting all this stuff up. So uh, suffice it to say, for TPAs in a self-funded plan for an employer, the advisor is super critical too. So that's why in my book I call it Magic Pixie Dust and Miracles, because you got to get all this stuff together at the right time, at the right place to make a good self-funded plan, a good advisor, a good TPA, a PBM, which is a pharmacy benefits plan, which is another whole side talk. All those things have to come together to make a good functional plan, and the advisor is super critical in doing that. So um, you need really good advisor help. And some people will just ask, well, what's the name of a good TPA? Just tell me who's a good one. The problem with that is sort of there'll be a good TPA for a few years, and then something happens and it changes. Some brokers were using a good before COVID. There were some popular TPAs that a lot of advisors and brokers were using, and COVID changed all that. They changed their whole model. So you really need an advisor to can flesh out which TPAs are good. What you do want is an independent TPA that's basically functioning outside of one of these big health insurance plans. You don't want a BUCA, Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna, United. They have their own TPAs, and employers can work with their TPAs, but you're really just working with these big BUCA plans, big insurance plans. So you want an independent TPA that works really for you. They're not working for some big insurance company. So you can have an employer who has a self-funded plan, but they use Cigna's TPA or they use Blue Cross's TPA. And so are they really self-funded? Or are they basically having to play by the rules of Blue Cross Blue Shield? So you have to be careful with those things when you're the DPC doctor and you're getting in with a employer who maybe has a really crazy self-funded plan, which is really tied down to a BUCA, some big health insurance company. So you want to have a really good advisor who knows what they're doing to craft a health plan using an independent TPA outside of a big health insurance company, and they match all that up for the employer and work it with you, the DPC, because you don't want to get trapped by the TPA. So things that'll get you in trouble with the TPA as a DPC is if the TPA starts asking you for claims information, or they want you to send them information about certain claims, or some people have gotten trapped where the DPC is getting paid by the TPA and not the employer, and so sometimes they won't their money will get held up for certain reasons. So you have to be really careful about that. So you may work with a TPA a little bit, but not much. It's mostly going to be the employer and the advisor really working with that TPA to get the claims settled. Now, obviously, in a DPC plan, you're not sending any claims. There are no claims. So you should not really be really involved with the TPA. Just need to be aware of the type and that it's critical that the advisor have a role in that, or you could get caught up in it if they're making you do all these prior authorizations or medical management. Just make sure that the uh, advisor and the health plan that the employer comes up with is functioning really well with the DPC, and that you understand what the TPA does. Our large employer that we work with, that I talk about in my book, we almost have zero contact with the TPA because we don't have prior authorizations or medical management, that kind of stuff in the program. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of information on TPAs to get you started. You can certainly pick up a copy of my book at dpcmagic.com, dpcmagic.com, and read more about that and how we did it with our large employer. Other than that, I hope you guys just have a great weekend. Hope to be seeing you soon at some of the conferences coming up this summer at the DPC Summit. And it's also Mastermind Weekends coming up I'll be involved in. You can shoot me an email at Dr. Shane at dpcmagic.com, Dr. Shane at dpcmagic.com. Let me put that in there for you so you can connect with me there. Email, I'll try to answer any questions that I can and get you pointed in the right direction. Other than that, have a great weekend, you guys.